lot of times I feel like we have kind of lost the art of dating as women. So here are some tips today that I think you can utilize the next time you step into the arena of the dating world. You guys ready? Let's go. The bar is set so low in 2022 when it comes to dating that women are finding themselves in compromising situations where we're actually asking men things like, what are we? And asking them on dates first and asking men for their phone numbers. I'm sorry, it's just not, that's not something that I subscribe to. You've got to let him lead. However you start this relationship is pretty much how it's going to go. Let him be a man. You're robbing him of his manhood by stepping up to the plate. Relax, relate, release. Stay in your femininity. You don't have to push a man to do what a man's going to do. He's going to do it if it's in his will. If he's not going to do it, he didn't want to do it with you. And that's a harsh truth that you may not want to, hear, but it's the truth. So I want to say this. Keep your standards where they are, because you obviously have taken the time to get to know yourself and cultivate a life for yourself. If you're dating right now, I hope you've healed and now you know who you are and you know what you want. Don't drop the standards. So because the standards are so low, we do things on dates like, number one, we don't ask any questions. We've been taught to just go with the flow. Don't go too fast. Don't ask too many questions because you don't want to push him away and you don't want to seem crazy. Girl, you've got to ask questions. And I'm not saying go into it as like a private detective, but when you're sitting at dinner and you're talking, and make sure these dates are not at the movies or secluded places too early. You want to meet this person somewhere where you can actually hear each other talk and get to know each other. So when you're on these dates, the first date, you need to be sitting across from this person and seeing what their body language is towards you, seeing if they're listening to you when you talk, and seeing how are they answering these questions. Do they not want to answer the questions, or are they asking them? Some of the questions that I like to ask men immediately are, where are you from? This is friendly banter. Where are you from? Awesome. What's your background? Christian, Catholic? Do you believe in God? Ask questions that are some of the things that you find important for your life. Like if you are a believer of God and that's important to you, you should find out if the person you're sitting across from is also that way, or at least you guys have the same beliefs, right? I'm into health and wellness, so I'd ask questions like, do you work out? And I'd kind of ask them like, what's your eating habits? Do you like working out? Do you drink water? Are you into sports? I asked this question here always, before I met my boyfriend. One of the main questions for me was, do you have children? Because if you don't ask these men these days, it's almost like they don't even tell you. Like I've literally had to ask dudes, do you have a child? I don't know about you, but if I had a child, that would come up in the conversation before the date's over. I've been around guys who don't even tell me this until like the second or third or fourth date. And I'm like, why is your kid not a topic of conversation while we're sitting here? Like, I don't know. I would be like, how was your day today? Oh, today me and my daughter went to the grocery store. I mean, you know what I mean? Like if I had a kid, like I'd be like, they'd be a part of my conversation because that's another human being. That's an importance to my life that you should know about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily need to know like how old, or I don't need to know how it happened or the breakup and the whole long story quite yet, but just knowing that you have a child, I would like to know that, and you should too. We have to learn to not feel like we're moving too fast because we're collecting data. Dating is for data. So number one, a way to step your game up when you're dating and to help you not waste your time. Because if you get a couple of these questions answered, you will honestly know whether or not a second date is even worth your time. And that's why we're dating. You don't have to make everyone you go on a date with your potential husband. When we don't ask questions, we get caught up in people's looks, and the whole date becomes a lustful thing. And that's cool if you like someone's looks, but you need to like who they are, because lust is going to get you but so far. And in this dating world, everyone's lusting. So bringing content to the conversation and building a bond with that person kind of early on by just having the witty banter and asking the questions will lead to a reason to go to the second date. So number one, collect data by having a friendly conversation, asking friendly but informative questions. The number two thing that I think really helped me when I was dating, I never was a serial dater. I typically like to date like one person at a time, and I think I've tried to date like two people at one time, but typically eventually one rules themselves out within that first 10 days, and then I'm just, you know, still talking to just one person. But the second thing, nonetheless, you have to be yourself. You can't be somebody else and be out here dating. If you're not being authentic, you're not going to attract something that's authentic for you. So you got to be okay with who you are. That's part of your healing. I don't think you should be dating if you haven't been working on yourself anyways, because whatever drama you haven't resolved, you're going to bring that right into whoever you're talking to that night. And then that person's going to be like, whoa, she's got issues, and you're going to continue to keep yourself in a bad space, right? So you have to be your authentic self. And there's an array of ways that can happen. Do you dress the way you think a man's gonna like because you think that's what you see on TV? If you're not a girl that wears tight dresses with cleavage and booty out and legs out, then don't show up to the date like that. That's not who you are, sis. If you are a very modest woman, if you don't like super high heels, if you don't like your hair a particular way, if you don't like to wear a ton of makeup, always be polished. We have to carry ourselves in a higher way, but don't be the polished version of someone on Instagram. You're not an Instagram model, then don't be one. Because you don't want to be sitting across the table from someone and you got your boobs all out, and then you're wondering why this is what he's looking at the whole time. He's not even talking to you. He's just... And that's not even who you are, but now you're coming off that way. Be you. Be you. But if you're confident and that is how you dress, that does not give anyone a right to talk to you crazy or treat you like a piece of meat. All I'm saying is you have to show up to this date as you. You gotta be authentically who you are. And by being you, I mean eat, girl. Order the food that you like. Eat, girl. I know my boyfriend be cracking up when I be eating, because since the day I met him, I have never been like, oh, I'm good. No, I am eating what's on my plate, and maybe there'll be a to-go box, but most of the time there's not. If you like to eat, eat. If you're quirky, be quirky. If you laugh, and it's a silly laugh, that's your silly laugh. You know, like, be yourself. Your conversation needs to flow through your own personality. Don't try to be somebody you're not, because you're gonna, what, fool him into liking a fake version of you? How does that go, you know? So, number two, you must be you. And you are the ish. So you just gotta be you. All right, so this last thing says you gotta date with your ears and not your eyes. I know he fine and he cute and he's sexy and all these things and he's your type, but up until this point, your type has done nothing but hurt your feelings, break your heart, waste your time, and got you right here again on another date with somebody else. So obviously there's something up with our type. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm all for it if he's sexy, good looking, and all that stuff, but is he asking you any questions about yourself? I mean, there's been times I've been on dates with a guy where literally I was the only one talking and all they do was answering whatever I asked of them, and I'm the one carrying the whole conversation. This man's not interested, or if he is interested, he's just being lazy, and I don't do those lazy dudes because he's just too cute to even talk. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with this generation of men, but the level of femininity is on an all-time high. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to be impressive, and you should be impressive as well. There should be a mutual level of conversation, witty banter, and getting to know one another. I'm not going to be doing all of the work, and neither should he. But when you are, as a woman, sitting there and you're letting a man, he's not giving you any conversation, you ask him questions, he's got roundabout answers because he doesn't really want to answer them. And the only thing he does want to say to you is things that are about your looks, like, ooh, I like your hair. Ooh, you have such a nice body. Ooh, you look like you must work out. All these things that are all outside attributes because he has no substance whatsoever. And maybe he does, but he has none with you. And that's something that we need to be paying more attention to. So we're listening with our ears on this date. We're listening. Does he have any questions for you? This man hasn't asked you something as quick as, when's your birthday? What's your sign? What's your aspirations in life? What's your favorite food? I mean, literally has asked you absolutely nothing on this date. That's a sign. We gotta do better. We in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even in our 20s, we gotta do better, because a lot of these men that we kick it with say things to us like, let's just go with the flow when you ask them questions and you have any expectations. So early on these dates, especially the first date, you kind of get an idea of what you could be possibly working with, right? So you don't want to keep wasting time. Who has time to waste? I don't care how young or old you are. You're valuable time is valuable. There's not a currency more valuable than time. So you don't want to waste it with people who honestly aren't on your level or on the same page as you. At the very least, like, don't waste your time with people who are not thinking about the future like you are, who are not willing to put effort in like you are. Why would you waste your time? There's not a meal I need that bad that I need to compromise who I am to be around somebody. And as far as these dates go, 1 hour, hour and a half max. After dinner, you know, there's no 5 and 6 and 7 hour dates. Y'all want to go grab more drinks, get wasted with somebody who you didn't even really have the greatest dinner conversation with. And next thing you know, we're being physical with people we don't even know. We got to start cutting these dates short, leave them wanting a little bit more, and let's see where their efforts and head is, because we're so quick to be physical these days. We haven't even gotten to know people. Have you thought about the last few people you've hung out with and how you kind of knew early on that they really wasn't about nothing, but you kept on letting them be around you? And then you might have actually gotten physical with them, and just all of that stuff is so unnecessary if we just took the proper precaution to date a little bit smarter. We just got to date a little smarter. That's it. We got to ask questions. We got to be observant with our eyes and our ears, but our ears are so much more important because we can be fooled by someone's outward persona. We could be looking at what they do for a living. They could just name their career path and we're immediately impressed. We see their car. We cannot be concerned with those things. We have to be concerned with what's inside this person. Do they care enough to give me a conversation? Are they asking me questions? Are they answering questions I have for them? Is there a genuine connection right now, even on this very first date, that makes me feel like I want to have a second one? This is your choice. We are living in a society now where women have been like, I don't know, it's the Kevin Samuels and all these manosphere weirdos who got women thinking that we're so low value that we need to beg men to be in our presence. We need to bring something to this table. Stay in your femininity, and if you have masculinity in you, of course you do. We're multifaceted beings. You might be masculine at work because you're a boss, but you still are a feminine woman. You're a woman. You're a woman. So never let a man make you feel like because you have a great career. I've been on dates with guys before that were offended that I took care of myself, saying things like, well, could you be submissive? That's a conversation for another day, but that was a red flag for me because I know what that conversation leads to and what kind of personality is attached to it. That's just me. But the data that you collect on that first date may not be enough to decide if there should be a second one, but it'll give you enough to see, you know, what kind of human being am I dealing with? And if you do decide to go on the second date, you know what to do on the second date because you did enough on the first date. We have to be more observant. We have to treat dating like it's another job because the person you end up with, they really do have the positioning to ruin your life. If you choose the wrong partner, your life can go from here to here real quick. The wrong partner can ruin your whole life. So we gotta be vetting these men a lot better than we have been, ladies. There's not a piece of food out there that's worth you wasting your time. You can take care of yourself. Remember, we are doing our thing these days, ladies. So you don't need to be pressed about being around no dude just because you're bored or being around no dude just because you're hungry. Girl, please. Come on now. We gotta do better. All right, so anyways, thank you for watching and I hope this helped at all. Please leave a comment. Let me know what else you guys would like me to talk about. I feel like this should be a 2 or 3-parter because I learned so much when I was dating that I just, child, if I had known these things in my 20s, I swear I wouldn't have wasted so much time with people who showed me exactly who they were on the first date. But be careful if you're dating. Like I said, meet people in public places. Do not make the first date intimate. Do not let it be at someone's home. Do not let it be at the movie theater where it's dark. Always meet these people in public places, and that way you can have the right to just up and leave when you want to, and everyone will be around to see, and you won't feel like you're in some like secluded area where someone can harm you, and if things go wrong, that is, and you always can feel like you're safe, and that's key. So watch how you're dating, use these tips, and I wish you nothing but luck and have a great week. Bye.